Let's talk a little bit about what holds us women back. What would you say is that the case? What would be your thinking?
Women thing now, nobody's talking.
Maybe I can start. So I think for me it is definitely like uncertainty. So I'm super shy about whether I can make something. I always question myself. Also like before applying somewhere, I'm like, oh my god, can I even make it? Am I good enough? But yeah, I think the most important thing is that we just believe in ourselves, have confidence to just do something and just try it. Because if I had never applied to Manage & More, I wouldn't be in here. But yeah, my friends kind of gave me the confidence to apply, and yeah, I got in. So I think we shouldn't hold ourselves back, but just go out there and try.
I think that's a very fair point. I feel also like a little bit of overthinking.
Yeah.
Like whenever I do something, I'm like, oh god, are people gonna see it wrong or something?
Yeah. And I think it's not about being female because we don't really think, oh, I'm a woman, I'm gonna apply there. But we intrinsically don't have this like jump right away if we don't really perceive that we can just learn on the go, because the field is like mainly dominated with more male role models, so we don't see enough power inside of us. But it's actually just about daring that status quo that we have. We just have to challenge and jump in there, because it's not about not having, it's just we don't have experience enough to be out there, maybe.
Yeah, I also think so. Like, you don't believe in yourself enough, and like the default is always male, so you feel like you don't belong in certain spaces, and that's why you don't even try. And I think, I mean, that goes along with what you guys said.
And we have different strengths by our nature sometimes. I don't know, maybe I'm really good at team building, not in strategy and tech, for example. But this is also an asset. But if it's not valued in an environment, then I don't want to stand up and say, hey, I'm actually good at team building, for example. But we should just, I believe, empower what we have.
Yeah, I also think it's super important to just believe in our strengths and to show that we have them, and not think, oh, someone else might be even better at it, but to just go out there and show, hey, I can do this, I can do that.
Yeah,
perfect. Welcome back to Meet Munich, my friends. I'm so happy to bring you another episode with, this time, support from Manage & More. I'm here with some of the incredible women we have in Generation 38. So thank you so much, Almira, Lotti and Harsha, for being here today.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
So for our audience who may not know you, maybe you can say 1-2 sentences about yourselves, and then we can start right into the conversation.
Sure. I'm Almira. I'm from Management and Technology Masters from TUM, and I started Manage & More last semester. I'm from G38, as all of the girls here. And I'm right now working on my startup project in biotech field, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm Lotti, I'm same generation, also a Master in Management and Technology. I did my undergrad in cultural studies, so something very different, but I've worked in a startup, and that's how I came into the startup ecosystem in Munich.
Yeah, and I'm Harsha, and I study Master in Sustainable Resource Management, which is a bit off, but the coolest topic, so highly recommend people joining it. And I also joined last year with everyone else. And yeah, that's all.
Awesome. So we have even diverse backgrounds. That's terrific. not even designed. So let's start off a little bit with the question: why did you guys or girls here apply to Manage & More?
I think for me, so I had a failed startup, let's say, sort of, at the beginning of last year, and when there was a whole metaverse happening and the Web3 era, let's say, which failed. And since then I felt that there were some skills that came very naturally to me, like team building, or there were skills that I wanted to build further about what the startup looks like, because I think learning about how to build a startup gives you so much more than just, making a lot of money. It's not just about making money, it's so much more in terms of what you can now imagine of creating, and that was the power that I was looking, and that was my intention why I wanted to join Manage & More, that I want to learn methodically of how innovation really happens and what is in there, and how do people come up with stuff, like how is that systematically done. And I was always curious about Manage & More, like since the time I even came from India, so I knew about it, and I was like, okay, this could be cool. And finally I had some time, I applied for it, luckily I got in, so it has been a very cool journey. But that's why I more or less applied.
That's so fun, I like that.
Can I go?
You go.
Actually, I was doing like last year, 1.5 years ago, I was doing a course called eLab where I met a lot of Manage & More students, and there back in the time I was like trying to build my own startup in more psychology field, but I had literally no idea how I'm gonna do like design thinking. Of course I know, but like very basic introduction level. And the most important thing, I didn't have the confidence, like even though I find the right contacts that can actually help me, I didn't have the confidence to like go and talk to them. And some friends that I met through this course, they were like, why don't you do it? Just do it, you know? And even though it sounds very simple, this friend really took the time like for 1 hour, and I know he had a busy schedule. He was just like giving feedback on my pitch deck, and I was like, oh, that's really like valuable. Thank you so much for being there for me. And he actually told me, hey, Manage & More is going English, you should definitely give it a try. Like, I think you would love it here. And I always felt like a little bit like I'm not there yet. And when I was doing the application, I really hesitated, because I said, if only the application gives me a lot of stress, how am I going to manage whatever comes next? And then, like, again, people around me, people who I was applying together with right now, for example, Thiago, also from our generation, they were always motivating me, no, like, just think what you can do best. And there I really figured out to be proud of what I can do best. It's not like fitting into some roles, but I believe the reason I ended up in Manage & More was mainly the community that helped me to build the confidence that I'm standing here right now, talking out loud what I can do and I cannot do, willing to improve and stuff like this. So that would be my perspective.
Yeah, nice. Well, I have not had a startup yet, but I've worked in one, as I said, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm very interested in like societal topics, issues, and I feel like there's a lot of innovation to be done there. I feel like when you think of innovation, you always think of technology, which is also important, but there are also like societal issues you have to think about. And for me, it was like I wanted to get into an environment that would inspire me with like-minded people who want to drive forward innovation, and that's kind of why I became interested in Manage & More. And I've met a lot of Manage & Morers before who I really like got along with well. They were super nice. I really like working together with them. Actually, I met Almira before in the course. So yeah, I guess that's my reason for applying. And also, of course, like the confidence part really resonated with me. Because I knew like the personal growth, I needed that, and I was like, okay, if I'm going to find it there, I'll try.
I like the whole topic on the societal impact and like thinking about sustainability and the direction everything is going on, and you know like the only way forward is through innovation. I think that really resonated. Like if you don't think of innovation now, then when? Because there's no like, you know, set roles anymore, like this is a job that you have to do sort of thing. Like you find your way, and you find your way when you have tools like design thinking naturally. Like you learn more about yourself, and you also learn about what you want to do in the world. And I really believe that's the most powerful tool that's I have gotten yet, like from the whole process of being here.
And you meet the people who are like
amazing,
motivated, which is nice.
Definitely.
I really like your point with societal innovation, because that was actually one of the main reasons why I started the channel actually. Because like my boyfriend, his whole ecosystem is all into psychology, therapy, like social work, and it's like very foreign. Like I was talking to people there and they're like, oh, there are like these programs and you can do, and they're like entrepreneurially thinking, but they don't label it entrepreneurship, more like these methods.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would never fit in there, and I was like, no, like this, we need these kind of innovations as well. And maybe people are more encouraged, you know, if they're like, hey, these people are likable and they know, like, approachable, and not like everybody like in their little ivory tower or something. So yeah, that was actually
and I think it's exactly the combination of those different skills and different people that is so valuable, because like technology is nice and like psychology is nice, but if you combine it, it's amazing.
It's amazing. And like I always come back to like my time with the NGO that I worked for. Like I keep talking about it, but that was like where I saw real innovation happening. Like how do you think of a 10-year program for a child who's in an underprivileged home, and you design the whole thing around that child? And that's the thing, like you have the customer's need at the center of your innovation, you know? Like, but to make those connections, you need to first have an experience, come back and study something, practice it, and then learn, okay, oh my god, all of these make sense.
And I think I talked with that actually also with Freddie, and so you can check out that video as well. That, I mean, entrepreneurship means not only, you know, like building companies, which we're doing, that's insane, but I mean, the little project I'm doing also has like a customer, you know, and it's like that iterating project. I mean, this is like a very stupid, like small example, but still, like it can be just finding a problem in your field and just doing something about it. It can be something super small, and I think that thinking is something you then see the problems and you're like, okay, how can I solve this? And I think that's so transformative because you actually do something about it.
Exactly, and one thing that I loved when we first met in Gartenbach with everybody from our generation, everybody was like met under the roof of impact, having an impact, changing what we have right now, this inequality, unsustainable solutions are around, and everybody was like, yeah, totally. And everybody actually came up with these words in their own groups, and I really loved to be in this, because if I have something going bad, everybody is trying to inspire me in a way that also changed how I see it right now. It's not, just like you say, it's not even like somewhere there's a problem. If I have a problem, it's very inspiring if you just like, because Lotti tells me something else, you tell me something totally different, Harsha supports me in another way, and we're just like covered by many aspects. I feel like that's exactly what I meant with confidence, and because it's everywhere, how you can influence people, impact in a positive manner. So yeah, I love that our generation is like, I don't know, very focused on having this this change. And when you said transformative, it's like really in our souls somehow. I feel like.
I think that's the point that we connected very well, like when we were also writing a mission and vision statement in some sense, like it was all there, like all the different elements of like thinking about sustainability, thinking about impact, social impacts and everything. So there was like this bigger purpose, and we didn't come up with the only wish that, okay, no, everyone is here to make their own companies. And like in the past, I think entrepreneurship has always been seen more as like an individualistic profession. And managing more changes that, like, if you are building a startup, or if, like, let's say Almira is working on something, everyone there is there for you, like, no matter what, you know, and that is a great community to have, rather than people pulling your leg and saying, oh no, she's doing it, so I need to be, like, there's not a competition, it's collaboration. That's the classic difference between both, and I absolutely love that, like, and it helps you like to think of innovation. It knows, it creates a physically like safe space for all of us to grow and nurture ourselves. And we can make mistakes. We could stand in front of a board and like, you know, I don't know, make all sort of blunder, like all sorts of blunder. Like, you know how you say like you always have to fail forward and not fail backwards, and this is a place where you can fail forward. Like keep failing forward and you know you'll get somewhere. So I really love that about us.
Yeah. Maybe it's getting too long, but I just want to add one more thing. Because Harsha and I, with Niels, we were in the same team in our boot camp, and we had to present, and I was having like really like getting very nervous about doing the pitch in front of everybody, even though it's just our generation. And I said like, I'm bad at this. And Harsha and Niels said, then you should definitely do it. And I was like, no, guys, like, I really don't want to. And then they were like training me, and both of them, they were just like pushing me to that you can do it, and they were there for me. And for example, Niels, he's very easygoing with everybody. He can just pitch literally anything, and he didn't say, okay, no worries, I'll do that, because I'm really good at it already. So I think this support is something very that makes the impact on people.
Definitely. I know you pitch a lot.
Awesome.
So successfully.
Yeah. That's how it started. So
that's terrific.
Yeah,
Amazing.
she just won the Start and Spread competition.
Yes. And MIT also. So I mean,
Yeah.
She's doing great stuff.
Okay, terrific. All right. So we heard a lot about the community and our generation and everything, and I think you really got the message on what makes this wholesome and unique. And I can really attest to all these things, especially like the part where you support each other and I think cheer for each other. And I think that's what makes the difference, because if we focus on competing with each other, it's not going to get you anywhere anyway. So I think that's really nice. And we talked a little bit about why we applied and everything. So what I'm wondering also is, like, did you have any hesitations about applying? I think you talked a little bit about this, Almira, but I think, sometimes as women we're like a bit hesitant. So I don't know, did that happen for you?
Not really. I was always hesitant. Like, I think that was just so intrinsically me. I never related it to the fact that I was a woman. But then I also, the more I talked, I realized that this is something that most of the women face, and which generally my male partner won't face.
Yeah.
But that was not, so there was a hesitation, but I never tagged it to being a woman initially ahead of applying. But I realized, no, it does come from something that's so ingrained, and that is something like, okay, I see colleagues, like my male colleagues doing much better than me, or like standing up, doing a presentation, going ahead with an application, getting an input, like it just flows for them. And here I'm sitting in my room, hesitating, okay, should I hit that enter button? Did I write it right? Or get a feedback from at least 5 people just to get the validation, like, okay, no, this is good enough, and you can send it ahead. And that has always been the case. So it's not just about the application today. It was also the case, as I said, about my failed startup in a way, like, okay, I never took the stage throughout the 6 months, even if I was doing the back work. I always pushed my male colleague, like, okay, no, you go do the presentation, because, or in every conversation, I knew that maybe I would have been a better suited to the conversation. I could understand what was happening in a call with the investor, let's say, but I didn't have the courage to stand up and say that maybe we should go this way or that way. So yes, intrinsically there is a lot of hesitation. But talking to this wonderful batch of ladies here, that is changing quite a bit, and now that has changed, like at least a notch less, so I don't hesitate as much as I did before.
That's so nice to hear. Ladies sound so sophisticated. It's like, oh well. How about you, Lotti?
Yeah. For me, I guess right now I'm at a point where I at least apply. I don't hesitate about applying, but the point afterwards, I'm like, oh shit, you got an interview. Now you have to talk to people and defend verbally why you're supposed to be part of like the group.
Yeah.
And I think for me that was more like it made me very nervous. And also then getting into the program and like knowing you will meet those like nice, very skilled people, and you kind of have to present yourself, I don't know, in a way that like other people will also think that you are skilled. I don't know.
Yeah, you're credible in a way.
Yeah, I feel like right now you know on paper that you're good enough.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to defending why you're good enough, I feel like that's more the issue. I don't know. And like right now I'm like I really have the mentality to I just try to apply wherever, and if I want to do it, I'm going to apply. But for me, the stress comes afterwards.
That's fair. I think I didn't have it, to be honest, but I don't know if that's a good thing. I believe I'm very shaped, because I've always been in all guys almost environments, like since I can remember, pretty much. And I was kind of the straight A student who got a lot of backlash for that, and then just you needed to kind of, I don't know, The kind of male behavior you saw from people just going for it, just kind of adopted it at some point, because I feel like what I realized, and a lot of actually the stories when I was at Barclays, we had like these highlights from people in very high positions, and a lot of the women were like saying, you know, somebody asked me to do it, or somebody helped me along the way. And a lot of guys were like, yeah, I just applied and I did it, and I don't know. And I saw the difference, and I was like, hey, great if there are people who are championing for you and are putting your name in the conversation, but I feel like you can't depend on that. If that happens, then that's terrific, but I feel like you have your best interest at heart and you know what you can do. And to put yourself out there, like, it's great if other people do it, but at the end of the day, it's like, that's what I think, my responsibility to put myself out there. And, you know, like, worst thing, like, I don't know, they don't like me, that's okay. Like, I've been not liked by a lot of people, and that's totally fine, because, I don't know, we have this desire, obviously, to be liked, which is natural, but not by everybody, I don't know. So I didn't really have that hesitation, but I can understand where it comes from.
I totally agree with you, but I really think there's like a threshold, and once you're over that, you don't even like hesitate, you're just going for it. And sometimes the threshold is just for the application, sometimes it's just for the small talk, because I like slowly jumped all over that. Because just like Lotti said, like, I'm in now, but now I have to, how I felt, now I have to prove myself that I actually made it, and you know, like I gained my place. And this is just like a shout out to all the women out there. It's just like one-time thing. If you just like jump out of this threshold, then it comes automatically in a way, because you see that you can do it, and you don't need somebody to tell you that you can do it. It's just like to burn the fire, and then it keeps shining all the time, I believe.
Yeah, and you know that you say that, I feel like here's the best place almost, because when I came, I was late. I didn't get the first part of the experience, which I do not recommend, because you don't see the whole beginning part. But I was very nervous at that point, because I was like, oh, these people all know each other, and I'm like the last person to arrive. And there was more the phase where I thought I had to prove myself. That's why I also pitched, because I thought, okay, you know, I'm trying to prove that I'm involved, and I didn't miss it because I didn't want to go or something. So I get that feeling, I think, but when I arrived, everybody was so well